Hello and welcome to Movies Recap. Today I will be showing you a science fiction movie. The movie starts with the narrator telling a story of how Lucifer first succeeded humans in doing evil to set himself on glory and raise war in heaven against the throne and monarchy of God. Defeated by the archangel Michael, this fallen angel had been cast to the lower realm, falling as he fell through the sky down to the bottom, damnation, there to dwell in unbreakable chains and punishing fire. Michael calls his name and ties a chain on his neck. With the use of his blade, he imprisons him and Lucifer tells him to unchain him. Michael tells him to return with him as an alien and voted angel of the kingdom. He better reign in hell than to serve in heaven. Lucifer tells him that someday he will be free and raised from the ashes and will return to Michael not as an alien nor his brother, he'll return as Michael's master and creator. Michael falls, his wings flying away, leaving Lucifer trapped. Over time, legions of demons joined Lucifer in hell as he plotted his revenge. On Earth, he decides to erect a stronghold to guard where Lucifer had fallen, believing that one day he would rise from the gates of hell and rule our world. Laura met with the professor asking him to consider her thesis, which said there were no angels that came from above and neither was a dark side. The professor told her that her thesis made a boring movie and asked her to come to his apartment if he wanted to discuss further. But she refuses, telling him that she likes crowded places. Laura meets the father, who gives her a tag before she can enter the exhibition of the Child of Christ. The father tells him that there had only been 5 showings of the shroud in the last 100 years, as there was a very big crowd at the church. They explain the blood of Jesus from crucifixion till resurrection. Father tells her that they believe that Jesus died, was buried and descended to the dead, and on the 3rd day he rose, and an intensely bright light emitted from the body imprinted his image on the shroud and was a photograph of resurrection. Father tells him that art tells the story of the past with hints of the future. He tells her that Michael's sculpture of him defeating the devil was there on loan to protect the shroud. He continues narrating the war of angels, the first war and the first evil, but thankfully Michael fought Lucifer, bounding him down in hell, but the struggle of good versus evil continued deep in each one of us. He comments saying that evil was not an external mystical force and it was personal. Father disagrees with her, telling her that there was more to that. He tells her that the artist said that the devil himself sat for his portrait, asking Laura if she thought it was the truth. Father tells him that the war in heaven has come to earth and the devil doesn't rest. He narrates that Lucifer would have consumed its all if Michael hadn't intervened. Prophecies of the devil returning to earth as a false god were all over as he prayed for the devil never to find his way out. He leaves her alone as she draws the devil's sculpture and hears her voice being called from a distance. She calls out for Father, who is not there. Just as the cathedral is about to be closed, a strange woman gets in and the doors are locked. The woman approached Laura, who was busy with her sketchbook, and saw the head of the devil's sculpture move. She paid more attention and opened the window curtains to find an evil bird, which distracted her as the woman took the angel's sword. The security guy collects the key from her, frightening her as it is dark, and she leaves realizing that the sword wasn't there. She tried the door, which was locked, and while trying to get in reach of the security guy, she witnessed him getting persecuted and his eyes used to retrieve the shroud. Father comes to stop her from stealing, but the woman is strong, killing him with the sword as Laura is hiding. Before she leaves, she takes Laura, saying that he might choose her. As the father died, he prayed to Saint Michael to take his body and use it to defeat the beast of Satan. Michael gets in his body as a blue light as Laura is being taken away. They try running him over with no success. As he follows them while running, he falls on the ground and they get away. In the demon premises, a young boy brilliantly plays the violin, and the guest introduces himself as Dr. Laron and tells them that to resurrect brilliance, some of his colleagues visited Santander Croce, the final resting place for machineries, Galileo, Michelangelo. He tells them that they got brilliant DNA, which was a puzzle that could not be solved. He tells them that he alone could bring the dry old bones back to life, and the results were children that they could be proud of. He tells them that the past will become their future once he resurrected history's most important and influential people from the death, and all he needed was for them to pay for it. He introduces the risen Antonio Vivaldi and his proud parents. Next for bid was Michelangelo Buonarroti, who was one of the greatest poets and architects, considered to be the greatest sculptor dead or alive, who was going for the price of 10 million euros, which raised to 90 million. The demon woman comes and signals for the doctor. They urgently get to the premises. Dr. Lauren tells the reason that all his life was mainly purposed for that moment. She tells him to prepare the surrogates and leaves the doctor, who declares that Lucifer would finally have a worthy home. Laura wakes up to the cries of her fellow hijack lady. She was becoming angry as she couldn't stop. Laura tried to calm her down and they tried to plan a way to escape. Some guys came in and took her samples. Back at the cathedral, other fathers were watching how Father Maroons get murdered. He lectures them as they let the shroud get stolen. They tell him the protector of the shroud was unstable as there were too many prophecies of demon beasts and cults, and wild visions of the devil coming to earth. He asks where the vicinity of the protector of the shroud is and he is directed to St. Michael's Asylum. He asks who the name on the tag was and they tell him she is his friend. They ask what you say when people come looking for the missing footage and he tells them to make something up because if they told the truth they would be taken to St. Michael's Asylum for sounding mad. He borrows a car and a jacket. He is disappointed to get a small old car instead of the luxurious ones in the parking lot. He drives to where the protector of the shroud was. The protector asks him if he came to confess the sin of not protecting the innocent. When he looks deep into the Father's eyes he sees and realizes he is not just an ordinary priest, he is an angel. He tells him he is the Hound of Heaven and immediately guesses it was Michael who told him he was there as they stole the shroud. He asks the whereabouts of the demonic woman and he is shown where Lucifer fell. The place was guarded by people who worked for Lucifer's release. He tells the Father that the devil can't escape as he chained him in hell. The protector tells him that there had been many prophecies that the devil will be shaken loose from his chains and the gate to him will be opened and he and his demons would come and conquer earth. The protector continues telling the prophecies of how the beast from the ground was been fed with children for him to possess as they believed that Jesus was to be born from innocence. Michael told the protectant the devil couldn't control his pride or his rage, therefore, could not possess a mortal body. He would destroy it. The protector tells him not anybody, there was one body that is held in eternal and now science had given the devil a way out of hell and they needed the DNA to make all that possible. Michael tells him that God would not allow it. He tells the protector to keep watch as he destroys where the gates of hell were been guarded. They started guessing why they were imprisoned and one of them utters that it was always sex and then they get killed. Laura tried to give them hope telling them that fear would get them killed. They try to make a weapon, while Michael and the protector are searching for a way and Dr. Julian completes the DNA which weakens the rock that held the chain and Lucifer gets free from the sword. He talks with the demonic woman telling him that her blood type was a March, healthy and very fertile. She tells him to prepare her. The girls try fighting but they are outnumbered. She is injected with some meds, which implant a pregnancy in her womb. Liz, the demonic woman, introduces herself as the angel of the Lord. She tells her she is going to have a very special baby. The protector kills the bird and they part ways, giving him a gun to slow down the soldiers of hell. He asks him if God is with him, and he responds by saying that it is his responsibility and that he will ask for permission later as he leaves. The protector prays for him as he goes down the tunnel. Laura and another are brought forth as a sacrifice. The war demon takes them as they scream for their lives. He locks them in a cage and drops them to hell. It stops and demons appear from hell. Lucifer enters into Brenda's body through the mouth and leaves. They throw Brenda's body out of the cage as she lies dead. The devil does the same to Laura but Laura doesn't die. They chant calling her the chosen one. Liz took her to a caged bed telling her that she had found a favor. She asks what was in her and Liz tells him it was a new and better Jesus. Michael creeps in. He fails to shoot without knowing he should cock the gun first. He knocks them out and changes into their clothing. He goes into the room where the shroud is. He steals it. When he goes for Laura he senses Lucifer's presence making him lose focus and disclosing to Laura that he is not Father McCorney. She takes the passkey and runs saying that he was one of them. He follows her holding her mouth. He takes the meds and asks her what they did to her. He takes her and they run. In the tunnel, he fights with the war demon who was close to taking her. He hides the shroud and fights the beast. They take both of them captive and Laura promises to kill the baby if they hurt Michael. Liz tells her that the pregnancy will be like no other as he chained her to the bed. Michael tries with all his strength and breaks the chain. He opens the doors of hell to look for Lucifer. He doesn't find Lucifer and the demons chain him up. Laura starts having strange dreams. Liz tells her a story as she looks pale. Eva tells her that the baby was preparing her body for the pregnancy, and she promises to free her once the baby is born. In hell he meets the girls who were stolen for Lucifer. They make him take a pledge: if one gets free they all go home. They tell him to get him his sword and some demons chase them taking one girl. Lucifer starts to appear to Laura and talks to her. She tells him that she hates Liz and he tells her that she will let her kill Liz. He asks Laura to give herself to him, and Laura starts getting demonic powers and kills the doctor, beating one and destroying his face. When he comes back to his senses, he decides to kill the baby. She locks herself and drinks detergents. Liz bumps the door open. She tells her that Lucifer will soon consume her and all her independence will end. She starts getting consumed and goes after Liz. She tells her that she should kill her after the baby is born to stop the baby from loving her. They keep her alive to sustain the pregnancy. Lucifer then possesses a demon in hell and goes to laugh at Michael, telling him that he looks miserable. He asks how God let him get free. Lucifer tells him that his demons are coming to end him. He tells the stolen ones to bring him his sword, and the demons try to lie to them, but they don't fall for it. They give Michael the sword and he turns to an angel who promises to be back for them and even says the pledge. Michael goes for Laura and tells her that the child was not evil. Lucifer asks Michael to worship him or he will kill him. He asks Michael to kill Dad and they will rule together, and he responds by saying that he had a message from him. God says that he won't possess the baby, but the baby will possess him, as good always wins against evil. He tries to kill the baby, but Liz forces her to have it. They take away the baby and open up the gates of hell. Liz brings forth the new baby forged by the DNA of Jesus. They baptize him by killing everyone, even Dr. Laurent. Michael gets up and goes to save Laura, who was hanging on the gates. They take the baby and Michael decides to keep his promise by getting the stolen ones. He tries to stop the demons from getting to Earth. He thanked McCorney for the body and blows it up. They get the shroud back as Michael goes for the stolen ones. Years later, the little boy appears grown. Kindly subscribes to support this channel.